Like, I don't think the 40-hour work week is an overall good thing. I don't think the freedom of having 2 days, that's not freedom. That's, you're being told what days you have off. You're being regulated at like almost every level.
If somebody took you and they dropped you in the middle of a desert, you're free in a negative liberty sense, in that nobody's stopping you from like building the house you want or doing whatever you want. But how free are you to really do whatever, like anything except die of starvation, right? You think unions limit freedom?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
not for the owner or for the business of the organization, but for the individual, it definitely does.
Really? What? How so? I would have to hear this take.
Well, so I actually got like a little bit of a taste as to what it would be like if I was in a union. I worked in a call center for a couple of years. We all started at like 15 something, or some people started a little bit below that, but we all kind of like made some small interest or small like we got a little bit of raise here and there over time. They decided as a call center they wanted to raise everybody. They didn't like bring anyone down from it, but they raised at least the minimum that everyone makes, $17 an hour. Everyone's making $17 an hour now. And a couple of the people that I knew that got significant raises from their performance, now they're on the same playing field as everyone in the office, and it showed like insane like they were just super discouraged.
Yeah, okay, so there's 2 points that I would make to that. One is that on a macro level, at least minimum wage increases are seen to also increase the median wage. So like often what that would do is by increasing the floor that people make, it would give, like your friend who had the performance raise, it would give him more leverage to then go and say, hey, I'm outperforming my peers who are now making what I make. Give me a couple dollar raise. It gives people more flexibility to see that. And at least on like a macroeconomic level, that's typically what we see associated with minimum raise increases, like on the state level and such. My other point is like, you realize like unions are the reason that we have 40-hour work weeks, that the minimum wage is what it is, that we have things like paid family leave, paid sick days. The weekend, yeah, like things that things that allow you to have all of the freedoms that you enjoy every day. A lot of those are due to unions.
Like, I don't think the 40-hour work week is an overall good thing. I don't think the freedom of having 2 days, that's not freedom. That's, you're being told what days you have off. You're being regulated at like almost every level.
On the 40-hour work week, like you realize it's not like regulating that like you only get 2 days off. Like it was just saying that if an employee has worked more than 40 hours a week, they are due overtime pay, and it's not mandatory. Like you can't force them to work 60 hours a week. So it's not saying like, oh, you have to have these 2 days off. It's just saying like you have rights. You can't be overworked. Like you would agree with that being a good thing at least, right? That like a company can't mandate you to work 80 hours in a week or fire you, right? That should be an easy yes.
I struggle with the like, it's not mandated. It's a voluntary contract between individual and employer.
Right.
They say we expect you to work.
But before the 40-hour work week was that you could have a job, you could be working 40 hours, and then one week they could say, hey, we need you to go 100 hours this week, and if you can't do it, you're fired. You think that that's perfectly fine?
I think that they shouldn't be able to do that if a prior contract was written, but if it's a new contract and they're saying this is what we expect of our workers.
Okay, so then you are appreciative of the 40-hour work week restricting businesses' ability to do that, and that is something you could thank a union for.
Well, because it's free will.
You think,
and we don't know and we can't state and tell people what the minimum they need is.
So I disagree with that. So you see liberty through a negative lens then. You think freedom is the removal of restrictions, right?
Yes.
With positive, negative liberty, so you might have to explain that to me.
Sure. So negative liberty is like the removal of restrictions. You think you're more free if there's less things stopping you from doing what you want. I believe in positive liberty, which is like equal opportunity to act would probably be the easiest way. I think that if you want to do something and you have the ability to act on that desire, then you're free to do it. Like my example would be if somebody took you and they dropped you in the middle of a desert, you're free in a negative liberty sense, and that nobody's stopping you from like building the house you want or doing whatever you want. But how free are you to really do whatever, like anything except die of starvation, right?
So I'm caught between the two. I'm like neutral liberty. Like freedom from external constraints. You can't just have like a free for all, and like that would mean that like you just said, you like basically have the freedom to die, and that's pretty much it.
Mhm.
Positive liberty is like the capacity to act.
Yeah, that would be like a
and
good.
pursue,
Mhm.
the capacity. See, there's so many different like starting points from like human beings. Like I'm thinking about this from a lens of the U.S. So like,
Mhm.
I see it as that like, even like regardless of where you're born or what you're born into, like life is all about choices and what types of decisions you make, and that kind of dictates your future and your success.
Mhm. So on a philosophical level, I could agree with you, and I do think that there should be some level of choice that dictates your outcome. But I think if we're just thinking even pragmatically on what's best for the society, I think you could better justify positive liberty as a whole. But if we're specifically talking about minimum wage, having a wage that would ensure everyone they're going to have the baseline necessities to live. One, it puts less burden on the taxpayer to need to fund social programs to the same extent, like welfare or food stamps, et cetera. If people are then making the wage to pay those things, there's less burden on the taxpayer. But also, it has more money than circulating in the economy. As those people will have that money, they're more likely to then spend it at the grocery store, spend it at the local mom and pop store, wherever, here and there. And that puts more money back in the economy, as well as rather than it being artificially placed by, like them using food stamps rather than actual money, which is all taxes. And that's coming from the money you already make. And so I think there's even like an economic way that you would justify that, where I don't think it makes much sense to have a minimum wage that doesn't fulfill those needs.